Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Chris Maloney back for another edition of CWN Weekly, episode number 8. I am live right now on Twitch. It is Friday, October the 9th, 2020. I was originally going to go live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, but then family commitment came up. So, yeah, I'm going live on Twitch now just to keep my stats on Twitch growing. And I'll do a YouTube premiere later on, and I'll provide the link on Facebook as well. So, guys, if you're watching this on Twitch, thank you very much. If you listen to this on audio, thank you very much. If you're watching the YouTube premiere, thank you very much, or Facebook. I'll get to a little bit of personal stuff first. So, if you watched that episode 7 that took place last Friday, it was absolutely horrible. Not my audio quality and not any of the topics I was talking about, but the video quality itself was just absolutely bad. And when I logged off of the show and I went to go check on YouTube, it was very grainy, pixelated, very cloudy, so to speak. And I was thinking, okay, well, it just hasn't, the stream hasn't rendered yet, so to speak. And then sure enough, I download the video file off of StreamYard, and it's the same thing. And then I go back and look on Facebook and then Twitch, and it's all the same thing. And it's like, okay, this is horrible. So what I had done is basically took down the video off of YouTube and then basically just put up the audio of it. So you can still listen to episode number 7. If you really want to see bad, video quality, you can find it, I think, on YouTube and, maybe still on not on YouTube, sorry, on Facebook. I think Twitch still has it as well. But so what do you do? I checked everything I needed to before the show had started. Reset my router. I had gone through and shut down any of the programs I didn't need, make sure there was nothing running in the background. As per normal, I had done 29 episodes, so to speak, of this podcast called TNT. Several of the Fantasy Warfare tournament stuff that I'd done with Sean and Steven. And then all of a sudden, I'm episode 8 now of CWN Weekly, and then I've done the CWN recap, as well as CWN predicts. And I've never had really major issues. I've had issues with regards to, being pixelated, or all of a sudden the video will stall out for like a second or two and then all of a sudden kick back in, but nothing like I experienced last week. So in saying that, I'm on a laptop right now, and my router basically is about 16 feet away, so to speak. And I always thought it was great. I always thought, I had no issues at all. I also go and check speed tests usually before I do a show. And then last week, for whatever reason, it just it wouldn't work. And it might be one of those things where all of a sudden that was maybe the first reason, or sorry, the first time I was on the Thunderdome, so to speak, and wasn't able to last more than 10-15 minutes on that one. So anyways, long story short, I've done what I needed to. I now have basically USB adapter plugged into my laptop, going directly through cable into my router, which is still only 16 feet away, but I'm hardwired at this point. So I shouldn't experience any kind of audio or video issues unless, me myself can't do the show properly. But that is that, guys. 2 more things before we get into some anniversaries as well as some news. NXT TakeOver 31 predictions and recap are up on YouTube, as well as the website cwnonline.ca. So check those out. Thanks to Sean for being part of the recap show. It was fun, and it was good to have banner back and forth talking about NXT TakeOver 31. You won't see me talking about it today. Basically because of the fact, like I said, the recap show is out there, so you can check that out there. And then WWE, by the way, and if you're out there and you see this fly that's kind of just flying around looking to land on something, WWE.com wants you to get in touch with them. So if you haven't seen the vice presidential debate that had taken place, and that fly, world famous fly now, is I guess apparently a free agent. So WWE is looking to sign him. So WWE.com, if you happen to know where that fly is. I watched Jimmy Fallon last night, and he had made reference to it. So it's funny to see, especially on live television when you're supposed to watch 2 politicians going at it. But anyways, it is what it is. Anniversaries, birthdays. So on the 12th, which is on Monday, I believe, Bret Hart defeated Ric Flair to win his first WWF championship in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. That was back in 1992. So he won his first ever championship on Canadian soil against the Nature Boy there. The 13th is Don Callis's birthday, born in 1963. So he's going to be 57 years old. He's up there. 13th as well. No longer with us, but Killer Kowalski was born in 1926. He passed away on August 30th, 2008 at the age of 81. So he did live a long life. And then not Canadian based, but everybody loves this guy, Eddie Guerrero, would have turned 53 years old today. So if you go on Twitter, Rey Mysterio, WB on Fox has put out tributes to him. But he passed away November 13th, 2005 at the age of 38. And that's... you think about Kowalski living until he was 81 years old, and Eddie Guerrero passing away at the age of 38. That's horrible. But they've gone in the right direction to try to help and protect these guys and be better with it. And it still doesn't make it any easier as far as Guerrero goes, especially when you see Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio and Vicky Guerrero still all on television and this and that, and then Chris Jericho, obviously. But yeah, Eddie would have been, like I said, 53 years old today. So rest in peace and happy birthday, Latino Heat. So the news of the week. So I'll start out with this. Victory Road took place last Saturday. And I'll say this as a wrestling fan. So the fact is, if you like wrestling, okay, you're listening to the show, obviously you like wrestling. But the fact is, Impact Plus, you can sign up for a 30-day trial. All basically you need is an email address and say, a debit card or a credit card or whatever the case may be. You sign up for 30 days for free. Well, Victory Road was on Impact Plus, so you had the ability to watch Victory Road for free. Now, in saying that, it was a pretty good show. I'll run down the results here quickly. So we got the Rascals defeating Triple XL. Brian Myers, defeats Tommy Dreamer. Willie Max defeats Rohit Raju. Tennille Dashwood defeats Jordan Grace. Heath and Rhino defeated Reno Scum. Trey defeats Moose. Josh Alexander defeated Alex Shelley, Ace Austin, and Carl Anderson in a four-way match. Deonna Purrazzo with Kimberly defeated Susie with Kylie Ray. That was interesting because of the fact... sorry, it's just receiving a text. But the fact is, Kylie Ray is set up now to basically face Deonna Purrazzo for the Impact Knockouts Championship. The end of the match comes, and they basically laid Susie to waste. Fact is, when it comes down to it, I think this is the end of Susie. I think we're going to end up seeing Su Yung come back. But the thing is, they basically broke her arm and made her look, absolutely demolished, devastated, so to speak. And that was Purrazzo basically breaking her arm as Kimberly has got, I think Kylie Ray was in a camel clutch or just a chokehold at that point. So anyways, it was great action as far as the match went. But then just that right there sets up a huge match between Kylie Ray and Deonna Purrazzo for the championship there. And then main event, Eric Young defeats Eddie Edwards to retain. End of the match came. It looks like, who was it? Eric Young was going to go and he was going to do some more damage to Eddie Edwards. And basically he couldn't, because by the time he went and tried to get a chair, Rich Swan, there we go, had come down and made the save. So that sets up the two of those guys, and more happened on Impact Wrestling. So I'll get into that momentarily though. So that was Victory Road there, guys. From there, we're going to go into Capital Wrestling Center to be unveiled tonight. NXT TakeOver 31. So that took place on Sunday. Pretty good setup. It looks exactly kind of like the Thunderdome, just smaller, kind of smokier version of it. They've got the virtual fans going all the way around, but it's pretty cool to see almost like a mini Thunderdome taking place. Better scenery as far as the Performance Center goes, and the way they've got everything set up compared to Full Sail and the way they had been running there. But so that was unveiled on Sunday night. Like I said, NXT TakeOver 31 took place on Sunday as well. Check out the recap show. You can find out what the results were as well as my reactions to them. Main event was Finn Balor defeating Kyle O'Reilly in an epic NXT title battle. So that was pretty cool. Was rooting for O'Reilly. Obviously, he didn't win, but they didn't come out of it undamaged. So Kyle O'Reilly, broken teeth. Finn Balor, I think from the sounds of it, I haven't heard anything differently. He's a broken jaw or something like that. But yeah, it's a tough battle between the two of those guys. And I think I'd said my prediction show as well as the recap show, I could watch those two guys fight forever. You know what I mean? So it was a good main event for NXT TakeOver. From there, they announced Halloween Havoc. So NXT Halloween Havoc taking place October 28th. So that'll be just a regular NXT show. So no pay-per-view, no Saturday night or Sunday night special. But the fact is, when it comes down to it, it'll be a special as far as the Halloween Havoc theme goes. Shotzi Blackheart had done the promo with regards to the commercial for it. She's howling at the moon, and it was pretty cool. And sure enough, memes come out basically within the next couple hours, and she's got her foot up, I think, on a ledge, and she's looking up at the moon and howling at it. And the one meme I've seen anyways is basically her foot isn't on the ledge anymore. It's on Robert Stone. So she's basically stepping on Robert Stone, howling at the moon. So it's kind of comical, but it is good to see Halloween Havoc back. The logo, I mean, for anybody who was a fan of WCW back in the day, obviously, yeah, it's memorable and sentimental to a lot of wrestling fans. So good for them. Injury update on Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly. I talked about that. This week's ROH Strong podcast, episode number 25, features Canada's own Angelina Love of The Allure. Hard to believe Angelina Love has been around for as long as she has been. And she's had ties to ROH. She at one point, I think, was down at Florida Championship Wrestling, so FCW. So what I say, ROH, Impact Wrestling, obviously. She's, ties to Canada way back in the day. But Angelina Love, is one of those ladies with a lot of perseverance, and I had the honor of seeing her last year at the Mattamy Athletic Center, which is the old Maple Leaf Gardens. I actually got to sit next to her cousins during the night. It was kind of comical because they got a little bit tipsy, and we're kind of in love with Roosh and any of the guys that come out who were in good shape. So it was, I was second row watching ROH last summer, and then basically had Angelina Love's cousins sitting beside me, and just being natural fans. Like, they're not necessarily wrestling fans, but they were fans to support their cousin. So it was a fun night. But like I said, ROH Strong Podcast, episode 25, Angelina Love's on it this week. Ms. and Mrs. set for Thursday, November 12th, return to USA Network. Fan of reality TV as far as the Miz and Maurice, check that out. So former WD producer Sarah Stock arrested. That was announced on the 5th. So I'm going to bring this up, and I haven't heard too much more about it. And I know Sarah had gone on to, I thought I had the article here. Where is it? Oh, yeah, there we go. So she had gone on to Twitter, and she made just one small little statement about it, and was basically like, facts are going to get all sorted out and everything else. But Slam Wrestling had stated, like I said, on October the 5th, Sarah Stock, a former producer with WB, was arrested yesterday. She's been charged with battery, resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and public intoxication. The Stock was booked in Evansville, Indiana, and released on bail. Beyond that, it is not clear what happened or why. And then goes on to say she was part of the WB's cuts earlier this year, goes on about her career, and then talks about her being furloughed earlier on. So not much more to it than that, I don't believe. I haven't heard anything more as far as the major news websites go. And like I said, she had posted on Twitter, but it was nothing major. It sounds like it's going to get pretty much done and over with quickly. So, but she is Canadian, and she's a staple of Canadian independent wrestling as well as Canadian pro wrestling. So I hope she gets all sorted out there. From there, we go into Jazz announces retirement. I'm going to bring up this article as well. This was all over the place, but I'm a big fan of Slam Wrestling, so I'm going to bring this back up here. So, excuse me. One of the most influential wrestlers of all time is calling it a career. Carlene Denise Moore, known to fans simply as Jazz, took to Chris Van Vliet's show to make the announcement today. Honestly, I have just had my last match this past Sunday. I'm done in the ring, last match ever. I am done. I am limping now. Limping right now. I am done, says Jazz. When asked if this was an angle, Jazz replied she was not going to Terry Funk it. That should be on a t-shirt if it's not already is. And then she went into her match over the weekend knowing it would be her last. So that is it for Jazz. God, the career that she's had. I think she was at Mania 18. I think she was one of the participants against Trish Stratus, if I recall correctly. So I got to see her live there. And then obviously she held the NWA Championship. when the NWA had come back. You know, she's another staple in wrestling, and she's been around forever. I think she's still married to Rodney Mack. Rodney Mack, way back in the, I think it was the early 2000s, you know, was part of the WWE, but she's one of those hardcore ladies. You know, and she's, you know, when you think about hardcore ladies in wrestling, when I say that, it's not necessarily hardcore matches. It's just somebody who's tough, somebody who knows the business, somebody who can train you properly, somebody you can basically have a great match with, night in, night out. There's a few of them out there, but yeah, Jazz was one of them. And unfortunately, like I said, she not passed away, is retiring. But that was on the Chris Van Vliet show. You can check that out on YouTube. Just search Chris Van Vliet, and you can check out more information on Jazz there. So yeah, so have a good retirement there, Jazz, and hopefully it's not a Terry Funk style thing there. From there, World Tag Lead and Best of Super Juniors coming. This, as a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan, I'm excited about, because, you know, since COVID took place, pretty much the world kind of went and stood still. And then slowly we started seeing things come back. And New Japan has been back. And not only are they back, they're back, you know, to the point that it's almost hard to keep up. But they're doing what they do best, and that's producing great wrestling. So I'm going to read this. During the October 6th G1 Climax 30 card, fans caught a huge announcement about events in the last quarter of the year to come. Already announced Saturday, November 7th, we'll see Power Struggle emanate from Osaka's Edion Arena, an event that has always set the table for Wrestling Kingdom to come. Power Struggle will be a night of huge drama and intense action. Typically, Power Struggle leads into the World Tag Lead, where the best champions from around the globe do battle for glory and a chance at the IWGP Tag Team Championship Gold in the Tokyo Dome the next January. So that would be part of Wrestle Kingdom. This year would be no different, as World Tag League 2020 will start on November the 15th in Aichi's Dolphins Arena, with the last league matches taking place in Fukuoka. I'll get better at that one, on Sunday, December 6th. But the big thing about this, that's not all, though, as for the first time in history, World Tag League will be taking place at the exact same time as Best of the Super Juniors 27. BOSJ 27 was previously scheduled to run in May of this year before being canceled as a result of the global pandemic. From November the 15th to December 6th, however, the best junior heavyweights will do battle in a league of their own. So yeah, so you've got the heavyweights and the junior heavyweights going to battle in this at the exact same time. So that's going to be huge, because G1 Climax wraps up very soon, and then basically it's all into the best of the Super Juniors as well as the World Tag Lead. So you can check that out, CWNonline.ca. You know, I'll have all the graphics as well as the scorecards and the matches and everything up on there. So looking forward to that. From there, Upper Cup to return this year. So that's MLW Major League Wrestling. Davey Boy Smith Jr. won it last year. So for more information, MLW.com. You can find the article on CWNonline.ca. Odd stacks against Rohit Raju in a 6-way scramble at Bound for Glory. So long story short, he kind of shot off his mouth when Impact Wrestling took place this past Tuesday. In saying that, as he shot off his mouth, and I'll get more into it when I talk about the Impact results, but Scott D'Amore got a hold of him, and Scott D'Amore was like, hey, you want to create opportunity? Well, I'll help you even create more opportunity. And basically he said, you know what, at Bound for Glory, it's going to be a 6-way scramble match. It's going to be yourself defending the title against Trey Miguel, against Chris Bay, against TJP, against Willie Mack, and against Jordan Grace. And I'll get more into that as far as Jordan Grace goes when I get into the Impact results. But guys, it's going to be interesting. 6-way scramble match. You got TJP, Trey Miguel, Chris Bay in there. And then you got the unpredictable Willie Mack. It's going to be a good match. And then you got Jordan Grace in there as well, which is going to be absolutely amazing. I think prediction-wise, I think I'm going to say Jordan Grace right now. It may change, but I'm going to say Jordan Grace has a good shot at winning that championship there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Guys, I'm going to get into this because I'm going to tell you, as a wrestling fan, I've always been a fan, so to speak, of journalists in as far as wrestling goes. And when I say that, if you look behind me here, and well, put the thumb the other way. Anyways, right there is a book by the one and only Greg Oliver of SlamWrestling.net. Well, first time I ever really had any kind of interaction with Greg Oliver was probably about 15 years ago. when my very first website existed, and I used to have a segment called 15 Questions With. And it was all just text. It was all just email based. So what would happen is I'd message a guy through email and say, hey, would you be interested in doing basically, 15 questions so I can post on my website? And so I got a lot of responses back from Sean Spears to Tracy Brooks to Bobby Roode to Hornet, who people know as Daryl Sharma from NXT. A lot of people had, I think Angelina Love was part of it as well. The problem is I think I've lost the info. There's one source I still haven't checked, so I might be able to post those on CWN online, if I can. The only one I know that is saved for sure is Rory McAllister from the Highlanders, so that is out there. But I had done one with Greg Oliver as well, and I remember one of the questions being, what do you think of journalists online compared to journalists who have actually gone to school and this and that? So, but like I said, I've always had a respect for journalists. People behind the scenes, promoters, just those guys, those hardworking guys that basically just love the business. It's like 24/7 to them almost, and this and that. But they still got time for family and their friends and their community and socialization and all this sort of stuff. So when it comes down to it, like I said, Greg Oliver, huge. And that's why the book behind me, when I met him last year at the summit, I had him sign it, and the shyness of actually came out in me. I was like, I could have had a conversation with the guy. It's just kind of like a little bit, starstruck almost a little bit. But Greg Oliver's a very nice guy. Published a lot of books. SlamWrestling.net. He's got the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. He's going to put back to life as far as SlamWrestling.net goes. Eventually, a lot of respect for him. The reason I'm bringing this up is because there's another guy who I've gotten to know probably over the past year or so, not gotten to know personally, but gotten to know his voice and what he does. And this guy's name is Jim Valley. So Jim Valley is part of F4W, so F4WOnline.com, as well as the Wrestling Observer. So I'm going to read this, and it's basically an article by the F4W staff saying, here's how to help Jim Valley and his family in a time of need. And it says, if you're here, you've likely heard Jim Valley's voice on our website, either as a co-host on Wrestling Observer Live, Wrestling Observer Radio, the Portland WrestleCast, or the Pacific Rim Pro Wrestling podcast. Even if you haven't, you should hear his story anyways. Jim hasn't been on the airwaves for several months as he's been hospitalized in his home state of Washington. He has a rare autoimmune disease called GPA, formerly known as Wagner's, and while it's been in remission for about 6+ years, he had a flare-up that has frankly been hell for he and his wife, Carrie. Now he's fighting for his life in the ICU and is on a ventilator. He got laryngitis in July, but it manifested into pneumonia. As Carrie said recently, every time he makes progress, something else gets diagnosed. He's currently in isolation with shingles, continuing to try to fight through this. Unfortunately, this all comes at a cost. As Carrie recently said, their insurance premiums are increasing by nearly 20%. It's time to help those at a time when they need it most. If you have a few dollars, please consider donating to Jim and Carrie today via GoFundMe we have set up for them. Even if you can't help, thank you for your support and keep Jim in your thoughts. And then there's a link over to the site there at GoFundMe. That was on, I think, the 6th. They had put that out there. Just trying to look for the date here. Yeah, on the 6th. But anyways, I think the original goal that they had thought about was $5,000. And as of right now, I just checked this. As of right now, $45,997 have been raised, and they've set a new goal as $50,000. They've had 966 donors, 1,000 shares, and 904 followers on this. But the fact is, like I said, they have $50,000 goal, and they're at $45,997. So that's absolutely amazing for Jim Valley. To me, personally, I still love the Pacific Rim Pro Wrestling podcast. He does it with Fumi Saito. They talk about old school days in New Japan Pro Wrestling, as well as Chris Jericho stories, Dave Meltzer stories. I was a huge fan of it, and that's where I get to know Jim Valley's voice. And then he starts talking about the Portland WrestleCast that he had done as well. And I think there was a big I think Roddy Piper, I think, was a huge part of that at one point. I've never listened to that, but it was always the Pacific Rim. Excuse me. And then Jim started doing the Wrestling Observer. he started doing shows with Brian Alvarez, and then he started doing the Friday shows, and then he started doing the Saturday show on his own, I do believe. But yeah, it sucks that, because I remember when him and Dave Meltzer had gone to Wrestle Kingdom last year, or this year actually, and then they had come back and they were both sick, and then so it sucks because Jim Valley's had a tough year, but the like I said, the $49,000 that's been raised has been absolutely amazing. So guys, if you have the ability to share the link or to donate, check out cwnonline.ca and look for the link for the fundraiser for Jim Valley there. So thoughts and prayers are with you. As always, Jim, and can't wait to hear your voice back on the airwaves there. From there, guys, Miz and Maurice developing a game show with WB Studios that was released on the 7th. Evolve standouts NCAA All-American among new recruits at WB Performance Center. That was kind of cool because the fact is I knew some of the guys, some of the names that had been signed, but it wasn't official. And then WB, of course, makes it official. So you see that normal shot of the guys with the gray T-shirts there, and then basically giving us a little bit of history on who they were on the independent circuit, as well as what they've done in college, university, so to speak. But we got Brandy Lauren, who's I believe still dating Joey Janela, and she used to be called Ava Story in Impact Wrestling. And then, Brandy Lauren, you'll recognize the face immediately here. But one of the guys I thought was cool, I shouldn't say one of the guys, but there's a couple guys. But Anthony Green is one of the guys. I got to see him, I think, at the Northern Tournament in Toronto last year. But and they even put it flamboyant Massachusetts native and standout grappler. And yeah, he's definitely flamboyant. So it's a good signing for them there. The one that kind of interests me, though, is Ohio is Jake Clemens of Ohio is a referee who's officiated matches on Monday Night Raw as well as for promotions like Evolve and AIW. So Jake Clemens, if you go in as an Ontario independent wrestling fan, you'll recognize his face right away. So if you go to that link, he's on the right-hand side, the very right-hand side. Looks like a kid, so to speak. But I think I've seen him on Ontario Independent Wrestling, mainly Smash Wrestling. I think I've seen him in Impact Wrestling as well. But yeah, good signs for the WB to sign these guys. But again, like I said, WB.com, you can look for the article there, or you can go to CWNonline.ca. What do we got left here? So Renee Young co-hosting Fox's October the 16th WB SmackDown pre-show. That will be with Booker T. So at least it looks like it's with Booker T. The picture that they posted was with her and Booker T. And I think he's got ties with Fox still as well. So we'll have to wait and see there. But like I said, Renee Paquette at this point is back with the WWE as far as Fox goes. So she'll, like I said, not tonight, but next Friday, you'll see Renee Young Paquette back on TV. WWE draft rules and Superstars pools set for the 2020 edition. Obviously, that's something I have not talked about yet, but that is the big part of today. Besides G1 Climax, obviously, it's WB Superstar Draft taking place tonight, night 1. So I'm not going to go through the whole article, but this on WWE.com. 60 male superstars, female superstars, and tag teams have been placed in the 2020 WWE Draft. More than 20 superstars eligible to be drafted on Friday night, and more than 30 superstars eligible to be drafted on Monday night. Due to the length of each show, for each 2 picks that SmackDown selects, Raw will get 3 picks. Tag teams will count as 1 pick unless Fox or the USA Network wants to separate the guys. Any undrafted superstars will be immediately declared free agents and be able to sign with the brand of their choosing. And the WWE superstars have been split into eligible pools for the Friday and Monday episodes of the WWE Draft. Conversations have been ongoing between WWE officials, Fox, and USA Network, so stay locked into WWE Digital for the latest. Friday, so they've announced the 2 pools, so to speak. So I'm going to quickly bring them up and just give you the names. So tonight's pool, and this is, like I said, Raw gets 3 votes and basically SmackDown gets 2 votes, just because, like I said, the hours of the show. But tonight, Asuka, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, Dana Brooke, Humberto Carrillo, Angel Garza, Drew Gulak, Heavy Machinery, that's Otis and Tucker, The Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, and MVP. Mickey James, Lucha House Party, that's Kalisto, Graham Metalik, and Lindsay Dorado. Drew McIntyre, The Miz and John Morrison, Murphy, Ray and Dominic Mysterio, Naomi, The New Day, that's Big E, Kofi, and Xavier, Roman Reigns, Ricochet, Seth Rollins, Mandy Rose, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, Shorty G, AJ Styles, and Jey Uso. So those are the picks available for tonight. And then Monday, a bigger list, but like again, a 3-hour show. Monday's list is Andrade, Bayley, Aleister Black, Alexa Bliss, Daniel Bryan, Carmella, King Corbin, Apollo Crews, Nikki Cross, Dabba-Kato, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode, Elias, Erica the Viking Raiders, Lacey Evans, Charlotte Flair, Jeff Hardy, Billie Kay, Lana, Keith Lee, Riddick Moss, Natalya, Titus O'Neil, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, R-Truth, Retribution with Mustafa Ali listed there, and that's I'll get into that momentarily here. Retribution is T-Bar, Mace, Slapjack, Reckoning, and Retaliation. Matt Riddle, the Riot Squad, which is Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. So Peyton Royce, Arturo Ruiz, Sheamus, Nakamura, and Cesaro. Street Profits, Braun Strowman, Tamina, Akira Tozawa, Selena Vega, Bray Wyatt, and Mr. Sami Zayn. So, guys, those are the draft picks available for both nights. It'll be interesting because it's been kind of nuts as far as the shows go lately, as who's showing up where. But this will make it more official. And like I said, night 1 is going to be tonight for the draft, and then night 2 is going to be on Monday for the draft. So it's going to be interesting. Some of the names in the groups, I'll get into it probably just a couple minutes here. But some of the names in the groups, like a Charlotte Flair, we haven't seen in a while. But some of the groupings as well, like they got father and son with Ray, as well as Dominic, but then they've got all, I guess at this point, 6 members of Retribution you can draft as one, or all 4 members of the Hurt Business you can draft as one as well. So it's going to be interesting. What else we got? Rich Holland undergoes surgery for injury he suffered at NXT. Basically, he went to go catch, I think it was Oni Lorcan, and then basically his ankle wasn't planted, or his foot wasn't planted properly, and it's he looks like he's going to be out for a bit. So that's, good luck to Rich Holland on a quick recovery there. Then we get into a little bit of more controversial news here. So Samantha Tavel suing Matt Riddle, WB, and others in a civil suit. That was announced yesterday. So she's basically asking for $10 million from everybody in that suit that she's filed a claim against. So she had a press conference with her lawyer. Matt Riddle is one of them. Gabe Sapolsky is another one. Evolve is another one. WB's commented that they haven't received anything yet, and if they do, they're going to defend themselves the way they should. But right now, it's the Matt Riddle and Evolve and the Sapolsky. Basically, Samantha Tavel is a civil lawsuit against. So we'll have to wait and see what unfolds there. Mickie James suffered broken nose during a recent match. Things aren't getting any easier for her. And it's a little bit of backstory with Nick Aldis, and apparently doesn't get along with Pritchard. Not Bruce, but Tom. Oh, no, it's not Tom. It is Bruce. Bruce Pritchard, apparently. And there was some stuff that was said online, and the next thing you know, Mickie James is jobbing out, and then now she has a broken nose to top things off. But she is tough, and she's been around for a while, so hopefully it's not anything that's going to keep her out of the business for too long. This news was broken today, and this is unfortunate. Alberto Del Rio indicted on May kidnapping, sexual assault charges. This was reported from what I've seen through f4wonline.com. When it comes down to it, it's former WB and Impact Wrestling star Alberto Del Rio. Alberto El Patron has been indicted on 1 count of aggravated kidnapping and 4 counts of sexual assault, according to Bexar County, Texas District Attorney's Office. Charges for Jose Rodriguez Chucon, I think is how you pronounce his real name, stem from a May 3rd incident in which he allegedly sexually assaulted a woman he was in a relationship with after he accused her of being unfaithful, an incident that she said wasn't isolated to that night. End of the article goes, if convicted of aggravated kidnapping charge alone, Chucon faces a minimum sentence of 5 years with a maximum of life in prison. For sexual assault charges, he faces a minimum of 2 years to a maximum of 20 years if convicted. Both cases fines would be up to $10,000. So life's not getting any easier for El Patron Del Rio, so to speak. He's had his battles with regards to drugs and relationships and everything else. It sucks that his life is ending up this way. I hope he gets the help he needs. And dealing with all the court cases and the battles and everything else that's been taking place and what's going on in this and that. But it's tough to see because, I mean, as a fan of the wrestling business, you see these guys in the ring and all of a sudden you're wrapped up into thinking that's who they are, and then all of a sudden you hear about their real life, and it's kind of sad sometimes, you know what I mean? So anyways, it will play out the way it's meant to, but it is unfortunate that he is going through this, and I hope, like I said, he gets the help that he needs. So I'll leave it at that. From there, Walter to defend NXT United Kingdom Championship against Ilya Dragunov. That was announced today, so it's going to be taking place on the October 29th edition of NXT UK. That'll be interesting and amazing because Walter really hasn't much competition probably in the past 6 months. So anyways, damn COVID. Excuse me, EC3 versus Moose set for Bound for Glory undisclosed location. That was announced today as well. It'll be interesting to see if the TNA title resurfaces or if it's gone, and that was the way of doing it. And I'll get into that momentarily here. And then today, unfortunately, Toronto, Ottawa, and Peel are returning to modified stage 2 restrictions. That was announced just before I went on the air. When it comes down to it, bars, cinemas, gyms, restaurants for indoor dining are all closing again as far as Toronto, Ottawa, and Peel goes. I'm in London, Ontario. I mean, if it starts there and things don't get better, it's going to end up trickling down to London as well as probably all of Ontario. So it's they say it's in effect for a good 28 days starting tomorrow, so a good 4 weeks. It's tough because it's Thanksgiving weekend. It's also tough because Christmas is coming up and Halloween and everything else. And the only advice, recommendations I can give to anybody out there that's listening is basically just be patient. Eventually, we're going to get through this damn COVID. Eventually, it's going to be a memory, a really bad memory that nobody wants to talk about. But yeah, we will get through this. But I guess do what you can and enjoy your family and Thanksgiving weekend this weekend. But again, like I said, Toronto, Ottawa, and Peel are being affected by the announcement this afternoon. So I will leave it at that. Raw highlights. Strowman versus Keith Lee in exhibition match. Why? I understand Strowman was over there because of the Raw Underground, but that hasn't taken place in 2 weeks. So let's just put him in a match with Keith Lee. Mustafa and Ali in Retribution ended up hooking up. Ali comes out and basically says he's the leader of Retribution, and they're standing behind him, and it was a great moment. I marked out for it, so it was kind of cool. Orton, Rude, and Ziggler defeats McIntyre and the Street Profits in the main event. Main thing about this was this: McIntyre cleanly pinned by Randy Orton. First time in, I think they had said Survivor Series of last year that he actually took a clean pinfall. And if you think about it, he won the Royal Rumble. He was basically on his way to winning the WWE Championship, being booked strong. And fact is, yeah, it's one RKO, and McIntyre ends up getting beat on Raw. So it'd be interesting to see how they play this out to Hell in the Cell and what they do with Survivor Series, which is usually in November. So Impact highlights, like I mentioned earlier on, Jordan Grace actually defeated Raju. Raju in the challenge to win the championship. So we thought, anyways. So he gets in the ring, does his gimmick, and then basically says, "Hey, anybody back in the back, do you want to come out? Do you want to challenge me?" Willie Mack comes out again, and he basically says, "Hey, Willie, sorry, you had your match, you lost. I want somebody else." And then Jordan Grace comes out, and then basically Rohit's playing the chicken heel, so to speak. And he doesn't want to take off the title from his waist. And all of a sudden, next thing he knows, he doesn't want to hand it to the referee. And then Willie Mack, still ringside, comes up from behind and then grabs the title. And there's a tug of war taking place. Well, anyways, this happens. So Jordan Grace sneaks up from behind, hits a roll-up. Willie Mack releases the title. He's still got the title in his hands. And then Jordan Grace ends up pinning him. So it looks like we get a new X Division champion. Well, Rohit goes and chews out the ref. Referee goes down to talk to Panzer. Panzer announces, "Hey, winner of the match is Jordan Grace, but title wasn't on the line, and still your X Division champion, Rohit Raju." Apparently, from the signals and what they're talking about, as Rohit said, the referee didn't raise the title, and that wasn't considered a championship match. Now, I'm going to get into that just in a second here. So the fact is, Jordan Grace wins. She doesn't win the title, and that sets up for the six-way scramble taking place at Bound for Glory on the 24th. Furthermore, with regards to Impact, Rosemary and Taya defeat Steels and Hogan. Diener defeats Johnny Swinger. The Dieners defeat Johnny Swinger and Crazy Steve. That was a fun match. Check that out. Heath for Impact. Negotiations for a contract didn't go too well, so Heath's still with other contract, and Scott D'Amore playing the the heel manager like he used to, almost to a T in the negotiations, but it was pretty cool. The TNA title burial wasn't much at all. Basically, it was EC3 on a bridge, tossed into the river and saying, hey, that's it, see you later. Moose, we saw him once, and that was basically looking for the title very early on in the show. And the main event, Motor City Machine Guns defeat Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. One of the things I don't like is booking that doesn't make sense. So you see it all the time in the WWE with regards to the referees. This time it involves the referees as well. So you have Jordan Grace, who wins the X Division Championship, only to not win the championship because the belt wasn't held up. And you can see Rohit Raju, and I think they might have commentated between Matthews and Madison Rain about it as well. Well, the fact is, in this match, so the main event, non-title match, by the way, they didn't announce as a title match at all. Everything I had read, everything I had seen, it wasn't a title match. But yet the ref raises the two belts up before the main event takes place. So that should say that basically that if Ace Austin and Madman Fulton had won that match, they would have been champions. If that's so, it's get it straight, okay? As a referee, if you're going to hold up the titles and you're telling people it's going to be a championship match once you hold up the titles, then great. Otherwise, don't hold up the titles. That's inconsistent booking, and it kind of confuses fans. So anyways, leave it at that. ROH highlights: Tracy Williams defeats Russ Taylor, Block A first round. PJ Black defeats Tony Deppen, Block B first round. So semifinals coming up: Williams versus Fred Yehi. And then PJ Black taking on Josh Woods in the next round. NXT highlights: Ciampa defeats Kushida. Velveteen Dream, I think, should basically take an Enzo at this point and then just basically set off in the corner until his reputation is no longer tarnished. Same thing with Matt Riddle on SmackDown. It's tough watching these guys on the ring, especially with the speaking out movement and everything that had taken place. But it'd be nice to see Velveteen Dream off TV for a little while longer. But anyways, he basically came in, and Ciampa was having a good match with Kushida. Ciampa ends up beating Kushida because Velveteen Dream gets involved. So Rich Holland defeats Danny Burch. I talked about the Holland injury a little bit earlier. And then Ember Moon made her return, teaming with Rhea Ripley, defeating Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. AEW highlights obviously was Jericho 30. So Cody defeats Brody Lee to become the new champ in a dog collar match. Obviously, both guys bladed. I don't think they bladed, though. I think it looked like blood capsules if you kind of look at their faces close and the way it dried up. It wasn't the same kind of thing that you'd seen with Cody and Dustin, prior to, where all of a sudden you see just blood pouring and pouring and pouring, and it wasn't as effective because Cody's got that brown hair now, so it wasn't the Ric Flair style of Dusty Rhodes, the Crimson Mask, so to speak. But very good match, very entertaining, and it's good to see Cody back on top there. What else we got? Jericho and Hager defeats Luther and Serpentico in the main event. Highlight of this was basically MJF comes out post-match, presents Jericho with a gift. It's a clown. The clown has a picture. The picture is given to Jericho. It's a big picture of MJF. Jericho takes the picture, breaks it over the clown's head. Clown no sells, and then Jericho gets the Judas effect on the clown, and it actually looked kind of hard. It looked like he legitimately hit the clown, and Jericho's like, I don't like clowns. And anyways, they have a little laugh. They toast the champagne. The roster comes down to the ring. So that was that. Jericho in the business for 30 years, and his book is coming out. I think it's on pre-order right now, so you can order his book. I think it's Jericho30.com is how you can get that. And then next week announced Cody versus OC, so Orange Cassidy for the TNT Championship. And the three names announced for AEW World Championship tournament this past week were Wardlow, Colt Cabana, and Hangman Adam Page are part of the tournament as well. And then NXT UK highlights: A-Kid defeats Flash Morgan Webster in the Heritage Cup opening round match. So that is the highlights for the week, guys. Ratings-wise, Raw 1,686,000, 0.52 in the 18 to 49 demo. They were number 6 among all cable programming. AEW 753, 0.31 in the 18 to 49, and then number 19 in the among cable programs for the night. NXT 639, and then basically 0.16 in the 18 to 49. And it says number 56 among all cable programs for the night. I don't know if that's accurate, but I believe it is. I know they took a hit. And the fact is, it was the vice presidential debate. I think it had about 50 million viewers for the debate that night. So, I mean, between the two, you're looking at probably about 1.4 million people watching AEW NXT, which almost gets to the mark of Raw for the week. But it's not getting any better, not necessarily getting any worse, but not really getting any better either. So we'll have to wait and see where the ratings end up by the end of the year. Oh, excuse me. SmackDown preview. Like I said, WWE Draft Night 1 taking place tonight. Bayley versus Sasha has been announced. Kevin Owens versus The Fiend, as well as Sheamus versus Big E. I broke this down. I'm not going to go through a big draft preview because a lot of other websites, podcasts have done that. So I will say this. If I was in this draft and I had to pick top 5 for SmackDown and top 5 for Raw, this would be it. And I could probably easily go into a top 10 as well. But my top 5 Raw picks would be Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Braun Strowman, AJ Styles, and The Fiend. Top 5 SmackDown picks would be Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, The Mysterios, and they come as one unit there. KO, so Kevin Owens, and then Ricochet. So those would be my top 5 picks for each. If I had to go female base, I would probably move Sasha to Raw, and then basically put Charlotte on Raw as well, and then keep Bayley on SmackDown. And then tag team wise, I think it's a little bit different there because I'm a huge Nakamura fan, but I think Nakamura looks better on SmackDown itself. So I would keep those guys there. Keep Cesaro over there as well because Sheamus is still over there. And then basically I would take the Street Profits and put them over on SmackDown as well because I think they could have a lot of fun and do some damage as far as the ratings going and moving them up over there. But it also depends on Bianca Belair and what brand she ends up on. And then obviously you get the Aleister Black and the Zelina Vega and the Andrade and all that backstory that played into it last year. So we'll have to wait and see if they do something different this year. 205 Live preview. Nothing listed as of this point. And then NJ, I don't even know why I pronounce it. New Japan Strong preview. Clark Connors versus Danny Limelight. That is Line Break, the Crown, the final. MLW Underground preview showing Raven versus CM Punk and Homicide versus Michael Shane with Francine from a while back. And then WWE Raw preview, of course, WWE Draft 2020 Night 2. So, guys, that is it for that. Not a lot going on with Canadian independent wrestling, but I will take the break as I normally do. I'll go into MMA quickly and then basically talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then from there do the wrap up with the Canadian independent wrestling scene. But MMA, so One Reign of Dynasties took place earlier today. You can find the video on CWNonline.ca, the link on for YouTube. One's been great because they post the full show on their YouTube account. So you can find the feed on, like I said, CWNonline.ca for that. One Reign of Destinies part 2, I think, takes place next week. And then from there, I think they're a 3-part series as well. I'll just quickly check that. One is phenomenal because it doesn't get enough exposure. And honestly, I don't watch as much as I should, but no, it's just the 2 events. So October the 16th will be part 2. So that'll be next week, guys. But yeah, check out one because it's they've got commentary. It's an Asian promotion, but they've got kind of British commentary that goes along with it. But they're very knowledgeable. You see some of the guys that have been in North America over here. I know Misha Tate, I think, had gone over there to run some of the back office stuff. But if you have a chance, check it out. Like I said, it doesn't get the coverage it should over here, but I have watched an event. And it is phenomenal. They're quick, and it's a different style from the UFC and Bellator. So speaking of Bellator 248, MVP versus Houston, that takes place tomorrow. Bellator ES10, which stands for Euro Series, Congo versus Johnson 2 takes place tomorrow as well. And then Bellator 249, Cyborg versus Blenko takes place on the 15th, which is next Thursday. So a lot of MMA action coming up for everybody. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get rid of the weekly thing for the time being, rid of the social media links as well. I'm going to share the screen here because I want to break down, like I said, New Japan Pro Wrestling, just with regards to the G1 Climax. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave the site open. I'm trying to talk myself through this as I'm doing this. Let me see. This. Let's see if I did it properly. Hey, hooray. There we go. Actually, I'm going to see if I can take myself out of this because I'm not necessarily needed. Here we go. I'm going to get rid of the top banners And there's just the one top banner as well here. So give me a sec. And you are gone. There we go. So if you go to the CWN website, so cwnonline.ca, not necessarily the stuff at the top because I'm logged in right now, but that is what you see here. So here, guys, is the CWN online website. You got your indie, your pro, your MMA, your TV, your online. So ratings, results, schedule, same thing here. Exclusives. So some of the podcasts I've done in the past, interviews I've done. The about section. So myself, my wife, Sean, of course, at the Scumbags of Wrestling, and then just about CWN. You can buy merch if you want to. You can help us out on Patreon if you want to. That's part of Canadian Independent Wrestling, which I'll get to in a moment. But here is hashtag G130. So when you click on that link there, basically brings you to this page. So here are the standings right now. And I'm going to do a breakdown for you just after I mention this, because I'll show you how important the next couple events are. So A block standings right now, Kota Ibushi at 8 points, Jeff Cobb at 4 points, Okada at 8, Ishii at 6, Ospreay at 8, Takagi at 6, Suzuki at 6, Taichi at 6, Jay White at 8, and Yujiro Takahashi, unfortunately, 0. B block standings, Tanahashi at 6, Robinson at 6, Goto at 6, Yano at 6, Yoshihashi 2, unfortunately, Tetsuya Naito, the current champion, at 10, Sonata at 6, Zack Sabre Jr. at 6, Kenta at 4, and then Evil at 8. Schedule is right here. So you see the next event is tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. our time. So everything here is always in our Eastern Standard Time here. That is what is based here in Ontario. So you can check that out. But tomorrow's taking place Ideon Arena. And then Sunday show would be B block. But anyways, when you look, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 events left. This is the final, so it doesn't necessarily count. So you got 3 events each for 3 events left for B block, 3 events left for the A block. And then here you've been your results here. So if you want to check out the results, you can do this as well. And then any of the media links that have been provided by New Japan or other websites, you can check out down here as well. So guys, like I said, hashtag G130 on CWNonline.ca. So I'm just going to bring back the banners and everything else here for me. And there we go there. So guys, like I was talking about, I'm talking about the breakdown here. And how it works is I mentioned the standings. I mentioned where everybody is. So like I said, there are 3 A block events remaining. What it comes down to is this. Ibushi has the potential of getting 14 points. Okada has the potential of getting 14 points. Ospreay has the potential of getting 14 points. And Jay White has the potential of getting 14 points. So Ibushi to face that he's got left in the 3 matches. So Suzuki, Takahashi, and Taichi. Okada has Takagi, Ishii, and Ospreay. And night 17 is going to be absolutely huge for this. Ospreay obviously has Taichi, Cobb, and then Okada on night 17. So night 17, if you're looking for one match to watch, Okada versus Ospreay is going to be absolutely friggin' huge. And then Jay White having left Takahashi, Suzuki, and Ishii. So Ishii, Takagi, Suzuki, Taichi, potential of 12 points. So basically, top tier as far as the A block goes right now is 8. So if Ibushi, Okada, Ospreay, and White, if they win 2 of the 3 matches, they have the potential of getting 12. So all they got to do is win 2 of the next 3. Ishii, Takagi, Suzuki, and Taichi have to win their next 3. They have to win their next 3. And if they win their next 3, they have the potential to basically go on to the finals. But odds really aren't in their favor. And then, like I said, Takahashi's been eliminated. Cobb gets eliminated if Ibushi, Okada, White, or Ospreay win one more match. So that'll be the end of Cobb tomorrow if, like I said, one of those guys wins. B block standings are this. So a lot of guys at 6, but the 2 main guys here are Tetsuya Naito at 10 points, Evil at 8 points. So the fact is, a lot of the guys at 6 have a chance, but kind of not really, because, like I said, Naito's already at 10. So the 3 B block events remaining, Naito has potential of 16 points, which would, basically blow everybody out of the water. In saying that, Naito, if he wins 2 of the next 3, the only one who can catch him is basically Evil. So if Naito wins 2 of the next 3, all those guys right now at 6 points are done. But here we go. So night 14, which is on Sunday, we've got Evil. Basically, and just give me a sec here because I'm going to take one screen down. Naito on night 14, like I had said, and that is on Sunday, is facing Evil. Then he's followed up by Yano and then Kenta, and Kenta is on night 18. Kenta, I say that because he's got the ability just to kind of screw things up for Naito. But the big match for, like I said, Naito is Evil taking place on Sunday. Again, Evil, potential of 14 points he could face. So he does face Naito on night 14. And then he's got Goto and Sonata. And Sonata on night 18 is going to be huge as well because Sonata can kind of screw things up for Evil, and obviously that affiliation with LIJ and those guys and Bushi even, and the way that they used to be affiliated, that match is going to be huge on the final night before we see the final night of Story B block before we see the final night. So in saying that, Tanahashi, Robinson, Goto, Yano, Sonata, ZSJ, so Zack Sabre Jr., potential of 12 points max, and then Yoshihashi and Kenta have already been eliminated. So like I said, Naito wins 2 of the next 3. Any guys with 6 points right now are gone. And then basically, as far as the A block goes, it's a 4-way right now. And I mean, a lot of other guys could potentially score 12 points. But like I said, night 17, Okada versus Ospreay. Absolutely friggin' huge. And me as a fan, I'm marking it out already. So I can't wait for that one there. So guys, that is G130. Check it out. 7 nights left in total, and then like I said, we get into the World Tag League and then Best of the Super Juniors to follow that there. Yeah, I think I may be caught up with pro wrestling. I am, so I get to have a break. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get rid of the banners here. I'm going to get a sip of water. I'm going to play some promos from Sean Bates of the Scumbags is Wrestling, as well as Ryan Knight of the Knights of the Squared Circle. Get some water into me. Come back, talk about some Canadian independent wrestling. And guys, sit back, and I will be right back momentarily with you if I can find the promos. Here we go.
Hey, wrestling fans. It's Sean from the Scumbags Wrestling. Have you checked out our latest t-shirt design? It's inspired by our friends over at London Comic Con. Nigel Lewis of NCL Studios came up with this amazing design of a comic book cover. It features 22 stars of the Ontario independent wrestling scene, including Cody Deaner, Jody Threat, Casey Spinelli, Tyson Dukes, Brent Banks, Tarek, Sebastian Suave, Halal Beefcake, graduates of the Tyson Dukes Wrestle Factory, and many more. You can get your t-shirt for just $30 or buy the poster for $15. Proceeds from this sale are going to go to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto on behalf of Steven's Wrestling Journey. Steven's an 8-year-old fighting Chiari malformation, and they're searching for a cure. You can contact me either through our Facebook page, Scumbags Wrestling, or email me at scumbagswrestling@gmail.com. Get yourself a great t-shirt with an amazing design and help a wonderful cause at the same time. So contact me today and get your shirt or poster.
Are you a pro wrestling fan? Do you want the latest info on shows and the stars that appear throughout Ontario? Are you looking for information and insight into the independent wrestling scene? Want interviews and information on the big leagues? Then you want Knights of the Squared Circle with Ryan Knight on Coyote 103. Ryan has his finger on the pulse of wrestling in Ontario on every level, and he brings that to you every Sunday at noon. Listen for your wrestling fix with Ryan Knight and Knights of the Squared Circle, Sunday at noon, only on Coyote 103.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. As always, thanks to Sean and Ryan for those promos. Definitely check them out, Scumbags of Wrestling, and then Ryan for Knights of the Squared Circle there. So time to talk a little bit of Canadian independent wrestling. Like I said, not a lot going on, but enough to keep us entertained. So upcoming shows for the month of October. So RCW Friday Night Fights happening October 9th, 16th, and 30th in Calgary, Alberta. RCW Saturday Night Fights happening October 10th, 17th, 24th and 31st on Halloween, Edmonton, Alberta. Alpha One Wrestling presents Ruckus Sunday, October the 18th in Oshawa, Ontario. And then this just announced, I don't believe information's out as far as cost goes yet, but NSW, so New School Wrestling, presents Next Level Sunday, November the 1st, first ever pay-per-view, and then the free pre-show begins at 3:15 Eastern. So guys, a couple of events there for you. Like I said, tough with the restrictions that are taking place, but it's only a matter of time before we get back to normal. Again, just be patient. But any other shows taking place across Canada, let me know. Upcoming at cwnonline.ca, and I'll be able to talk about those there. Facebook group, of course. So facebook.com, you can see it scrolling on the screen there. So facebook.com/groups/Canadian Independent Wrestling. Hashtag is WeAreCIW. Again, like I said, when you go to the CWN website there, and all the way towards the very end, you can find that hashtag as well. So hashtag WeAreCIW. That's anything to do with Canadian Independent Wrestling. CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca is the official web address, but that forwards you to the actual Facebook group. Push for 400 before the end of the year. Last I checked, I think we're about 358, I believe. So it's still continuously growing. But again, it's the group itself is promoters, talent, podcasters, to basically get the word out there about their stuff with regards to what's coming up for their, what shows are coming up, or what how do you get in touch with them to get merch or T-shirts, or podcasters, who's next on their list, so to speak, as far as who's going to be interviewed, and if it's going to be live versus pre-recorded, and what social media platform you're going to be able to see the interview on. So it's again, it's CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca or for Facebook.com/groups/ Canadian Independent Wrestling is simply the web address for that. As always, check out Steven's Wrestling Journey. So hashtag Steven's Wrestling Journey. Some sad news. His puppy, his dog, had passed away just recently. So again, check him out. Hashtag Steven's Wrestling Journey. You can find him on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just let him know that your thoughts are with him. Like I said, he had lost his puppy there, so kind of sad. Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN. News is still in the works. Just waiting for a couple of things to happen, and then basically we'll get on to get the ball rolling as far as how to vote, and then basically everything that's has to do with that. But you can check out cpwhof.ca. That'll forward you to the YouTube group, and then eventually you'll see the website launch, and then basically get the show rolling for January the 18th of 2021. As far as the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN goes, guys, as far as CWN goes, CWN Weekly episode 9, October the 16th, 7 p.m. live, Facebook, Twitter, and not Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Episode 10 will be October 23rd at 7 p.m. live, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Episode 11 will be October the 30th, 7 p.m. Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, of course. And then CWN predicts, CWN recap. I haven't decided fully what I'm going to do with these yet, but we've got basically 3 pay-per-views happening in a matter of 2 days. So we get Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory on the 24th. We get UFC 254, which is Khabib versus Justin Gaethje on the 24th as well. And then we've got Hell in a Cell 20 taking place the very next night on the 25th. I know if I get, say, Sean from the Scumbags involved, I don't think he's going to be much as far as predictions go for the UFC event. And I'd never done a UFC prediction show yet. But this is big because it's Khabib, and Justin Gaethje, of course, is up there as well. So I don't know if I'm going to do 3 separate shows, do a combined show of just everything, but we'll have to wait and see. It's still a little bit of ways away. It's still, we're looking at 15 days before the Saturday shows. But like I said, the 24th, Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory, the 24th as well, UFC 254, Khabib versus Gaethje. And then 25th, WB Hell in a Cell 20. So I'll have to wait and see what I do with that. But guys, you can check me out as far as email address goes. Hopefully I still get the note. Yeah, there we go. So feedback at cwnonline.ca is the best way to be able to get in touch with me. Get rid of this one here. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I just want to make note of that. It is another event happening as well. But again, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, hashtag Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You can find that online. Is definitely important. You'll see the graphics, anything I have to do this month in the color of pink. So, the hashtag CWN online in the corner, the pink ribbon that hangs off of the CWN logo. Obviously a lot of us has had, family members, friends, yourself personally affected by breast cancer or cancer in general. So it is just to raise awareness for breast cancer. So hashtag Breast Cancer Awareness Month there. Guys, if you want to reach me personally on Twitter or Instagram, at Chris Maloney, at Chris Maloney CWN. And guys, you'll be able to follow me on Instagram and Twitter there. My voice is winding down. You can also check me out, Chris at cwnonline.ca, besides the feedback one, to get in touch with me through email, or just find me on social media. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty all over the place. So anyways, guys, on top of that, I just want to say this: happy Thanksgiving weekend. Like I said, I'm doing the show not live on Facebook or YouTube because I have family commitments, and it's going to take place all weekend long. So I look forward to seeing my daughters and my my mom, my stepdad, my parents, my sisters. And also basically maintaining the laws here in Ontario that exist for the City of London. But like I said, happy Thanksgiving weekend to everybody. Just be safe. And, if you drink, obviously don't drive. I tend to get into the wine on Thanksgiving weekend, so it's a nice, enjoyable time. But guys, spend time with your family if you can. Just, keep in mind the limits that Ontario has put in place, but enjoy family time, because it's, comes around once a year as far as Thanksgiving goes. And it's a lot of food and, a lot of good times with your family. So guys being affected by COVID, Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa, hang in there. That's all I can say. But guys, this has been it as far as CWN Online goes. CWN Weekly episode number 8. I got to check the video quality. Hopefully this one turned out. I know the lights have been working as far as the cable goes connected to the router. So fingers crossed. Yeah, that's been it. So I'm going to stop rambling here. Guys, enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. I will see everybody next week for CWN Weekly episode number 9. But thanks for watching, guys, as always. And I will see everybody next week. All right, take care. Happy Thanksgiving.